show, the one and only, Mr. Dan the Man Gibson. And of course, we got him in the studio tonight. Can't hold it long. He's got to get out and go play piano and do some Christmas caroling downtown with that group guys. Good afternoon, Dan.
Oh God, I wish I had that to look forward to. Actually, I got another meeting after this one. Calvin, I'm learning that a mayor's day never ends, but boy, we've had a lot going on. What's going on? Man, I love me some Marvin Gaye. Thank you for playing that every time. That's becoming our theme song here for this Natchez Renewal live program.
It is a theme song because, every Tuesday, we don't bring up just because the name is Dan, but you Dan the Man Gibson, and always come on Tuesday night and tell us what's going on in the city.
What's going on? And you know what else I love about that song is one of my favorite quotes, Marvin Gaye at his greatest, when he said, "War is not the answer, only love can conquer hate." Right. And I tell you what, I just want to thank you and thank Natchez. We've been feeling a lot of love lately. Things are going well, and also, by the way, so Facebook can see it. Got everything here, keeping everything safe, and I just like the steps y'all going to, and we're using the disinfectant, we're using the hand sanitizer. Got my mask, because I tell you, Calvin, I'm so proud of our economy. We're staying open, but we got to do the right thing because we sure don't want to end up like other parts of the country,
And I know the community got to understand and respect that because I understand to make sure that you keep the community safe and get everybody compliant when it comes to the business. The city county is teaming up to get a COVID enforcement.
Well, we're looking at it. The county passed it yesterday, and Colonel Brad Bradford and I talked about it last night, and we presented it to our board today, but they didn't actually get the actual job description and everything until the last minute. So I believe what they asked to do is take it under advisement, look at it. They want to make sure they're doing the right thing. But this is the point we made today is that this county, this city, we are working together to do the right thing and make sure people realize, our hospital staff is just burdened. We would hate to ever see a time that you have to go to the hospital or take a loved one there and they don't have any room for you because they're full of COVID patients. So we're really trying our best to send the message. And we appreciate y'all running our public service announcements, and we're going to be stepping that up again. And then the advertisements are running in the local media. Because, Calvin, we're doing all this because we want Natchez to stay open and stay healthy. It's really important.
It is, because, I had to remind you, I got a chance to participate in something that you put on last Saturday night. It was a drive-through cookie parade. I've been here all my life. I've been in high school bands and been in radio station from year to year. Never seen a classy act put together to keep our community safe, and they call it a drive-through cookie parade.
I tell you, you have to get creative during this pandemic, and you have to think outside the box. And so we were very glad that that parade had such a great response in the community. We counted the cars. One of our battalion chiefs was standing there near where I was set up, and he counted 211 cars full of smiling children. They were loving it. So, and it was good to see you and your lovely partner, your beautiful wife there, Aquana. And it looked like y'all were having a good time.
We were. I called Dustin prior to because I was sitting home and watching on Facebook. So I called Dustin and said, Dustin, is you going to broadcast live? And he was getting ready to set up. So before I left home, he went on Facebook, and I could see all the cars that were lined up on Cadell Street. I told my wife to say, this we got a nice turnout. So let's ride down here and see exactly what's going on. And I didn't come in on the Cadell Street side because I could come down Jefferson and get in line on the mill. But I was able to come down Madison Street and get in line. And you had an officer there at the corner of Madison and Cadell Street directing traffic. And he kept it flowing pretty good. So
yeah. Well, it's a lot of traffic. Facebook, though, pulled a kind of strange number on us. Some of the exhibits, some of the floats had all kinds of music playing, copyrighted music. And Facebook, as a result of the copyrights, banned and blocked our live feed. So, oh well, we hate that.
We got it back
but we did get it back up there, Dustin. We got it back up there but hey, I want to talk about something. Talking about Facebook, we broke a record today. We broke a record. Yes, with Netflix coming in. So we went down there. I was with my community liaison, Brian Marvel. We're all so grateful for Brian. And so we were down there about 5:30 yesterday evening, visiting with these guys putting up decorations on Main Street. And we'll tell all about that in just a minute. And this was in the 300 block of Main Street. So we shared a video about that. And I haven't seen the account lately, but as of this morning, we had 22,000 views of that video and 600 to 700 shares. So people obviously are excited about Netflix coming to Natchez.
I was excited, but I had to have a chance to see it before I came and it was decorated. It is a beautiful sight that is.
It is.
It look like winter wonderland in the area that they're decorating the trees and they got the lights up and the design they put into it. So we can talk about it, how wonderful it looks, but we also want to invite people to go down to that area and look at it because I mean it's never like I've seen that.
It's truly amazing. It is. And so what really happened and how that came to be, we really don't understand how we got chosen. All I know is I got a call from Debbie. She's Debbie Hudson with the Chamber of Commerce. She said, check your email and your voice messages. We've got something going on. And I said, what, Debbie? She said, we've been contacted by Netflix. Natchez has been singled out as a finalist in a program where Netflix is going all across America and decking out these communities in Christmas lights and doing something really special during this, challenging pandemic year. So we got on the phone with the PR firm for Netflix, and they had a series of questions for us about Natchez. They interviewed me, and they interviewed the Chamber of Commerce, Debbie, and went back and forth with some emails and things. And then the Friday, it was actually the Friday before the week of Thanksgiving, I got a call, and we'd been selected. And they didn't even tell me how special that was then. All they said was, you have to keep this quiet. No one can know about it. It's a secret until we get there and start decorating. And so they started decorating yesterday. And it's then that we discovered that Natchez is one of only 6 communities in the whole country to be selected for this. And they just wanted to pick communities that stood out as being great communities. And obviously, I guess all the love and the unity that's going on here in our community, it got their attention. And so Netflix is doing this program called Here for the Holidays. And they are transforming the 300 block of Main Street. And will be finished by tomorrow. The lights are amazing. And it's our understanding that except for a few decorations that were leased, they're going to donate those lights to the city. So, yeah.
That's your perspective. I heard from my station that they were looking on YouTube, it's like you're singing at the mama, you sing these Christmas carols, and they say, we need to find this guy so we can get his autograph.
You're kidding me. No, I don't think. I tell you, if they were making that selection based on singing ability, I promise there are mayors across America, I'm sure, with better voices than mine.
That's great talent. You're working hard and it's paying off. Really.
Oh, thank you. Calvin, I'm just really having a great time here. I love Natchez, have all my life, but I really love what's going on right now to see our community coming together. And, if ever there's a time to really celebrate the joy of Christmas is now, because, Christmas is a time of peace. It's a time of love. It's a time of caring, being kind to one another. It is a time where we celebrate the Prince of Peace. Jesus came to be with us, Emmanuel, God with us, at Christmas. And so we've been through a tough year. And gosh, yes, we still have our challenges. But yet, if we look around, and especially look at some other communities across America, we realize we really don't have much to complain about. We truly are blessed.
That we are. And glad to have you in the studio because, I learned things when you working as hard as you are and you're going through the day, you have to throw a joke out there every day to get a laugh out of you because your mind has to have some relief, and I know you're rushing to get to another beat, so that's why I threw it out about the piano. But then
You had me going though, Calvin. You had me going. You didn't have DJ going. You knew that wasn't true. Love me some DJ Buzz. I'll tell you what, I'm so proud of him. 2020 was a victory year for us.
That's right.
I tell you, in July, we both won some really neat contests, didn't we, DJ Buzz? Best R&B DJ in Mississippi. And your lovely Trina, oh my goodness, she got the gospel DJ, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah. I'm hanging out at the right place.
Always, man. You're the home of winners.
At a home of winners, exactly.
Well, Dan, like I say, there has been so much going on, and, tonight I know you are rushing. We talked a little bit about the COVID thing, which, I know that you said they tabled the decision to join that also, but it's still to be proactive instead of reactive, and that's a great thing, when you're in a leadership role like that. We talked about the critical range, we talked about Netflix. So some of the things that are going on, and as we prepare to go into the holidays, the Christmas holidays, we're still up under the COVID mandate until January 31st, the mask mandate.
Yes.
Yes. So what's some of the other things that are going on that we can pass on to our audience as they prepare to celebrate the Christmas holidays as the city opened up for people shopping throughout the community?
Well, golly, a lot of good things. First of all, we had so many meetings. Today was a marathon. We went in at 11 a.m. and barely got out for me to make this radio show. But one reason for our lengthy meeting today, we did spend the whole afternoon interviewing candidates for police chief. We did not take action, but we will soon. The aldermen, are giving that consideration. However, I expect we will have an exciting announcement very soon. We had some great candidates for our police chief. So stay tuned. We'll have an announcement coming soon as the board gets back together and decides what they want to do. We had another great meeting last week where we hired a fire chief. And we are so grateful to have Chief Robert Arrington, who has been with the force a long time. I tell you what, Chief Arrington is someone with great enthusiasm, tremendous integrity, and he also has the love and support of all the men and women who serve us at that fire department. Chief Arrington has risen through the ranks here, since he came to the department in the early 2000s. Chief Arrington is someone who I met during the campaign and was always such a gentleman to me. And so we're excited to see one of our own become the new fire chief here in Natchez.
That's very good. That's something to bring up. Come in on your watch, you had to replace the fire chief, and of course the police chief will still be today in December. Of course, I don't know Mr. Arrington, but I've seen him around town. He's always conducted himself as a gentleman, and I thought, yes. I look at him, so that's a great choice for our community. And I'm quite sure the board of aldermen, along with yourself, is going to select for the great police chief. I think, as we talk about the police chief and we talk about some of the crime and some of the enforcement things that have been put in place, from my outside looking in, it seems as if everything has kind of calmed down just a little bit. Yeah. And hope it remain calm throughout the holiday season, and people just kind of get a trend going. But I do see more police presence going on. That's right.
I'm knocking on wood. But, our police are out there, and they are writing tickets. They're addressing noise, the noise ordinance, enforcing that. We do get reports. Wish the police were here. The police can't be everywhere all the time. So people have to cut them a break a little bit. But they are getting out there. But we are excited about this. We actually are, knock on wood, we're in December. And I was talking to Chief Armstrong, and we actually are about to end the year with some very low crime statistics. Now, does that mean everything's perfect? No, but it does mean that we are in much better position than some other cities our size. And so we don't want to jinx it. We just pray that this continues through December. But I will say that Chief Armstrong is winding down his career here, and we're so grateful that we've had him these years. I was surprised when I became mayor and he told me he was going to retire. I said, well, you can't retire on me yet. We got to find somebody to replace you. And maybe it's hard to replace someone like Walter Armstrong, but he will be retiring, and we wish him well. The process of hiring a police chief here, though, a lot of people don't really understand it. And as a mayor, I've had to learn about it because it's a little different than it was where I used to be mayor of Crystal Springs over 20 years ago. Here we fall under what's called the Civil Service Committee. We fit that profile of a city that uses an appointed Civil Service Committee. We have 3 commissioners, and they are appointed to 6-year terms, staggering every 2 years by the mayor and board of aldermen. And they really put in a lot of work to screen the candidates who apply for the positions of police chief and fire chief. And so in the fire chief selection process, they screened the applicants, they looked at qualifications, they came up with finalists who came before our fire committee. That fire committee met and interviewed them and then referred 3 finalists to the board of aldermen. And the aldermen interviewed those 3 and then made their decision. Chief Arrington. Well, the police process, much the same way, but wow, we got a lot of applicants. You know, they had 36 applications, but not every applicant met the qualifications. So the civil service, they met and they went through all those qualifications. We didn't even see those applicants until they finally got to the final set. At first, they were going to send us 5, and we said, you know, with 36 applicants, we'd really like to see more than 5. They said because of the qualifications, you know, you have to rule those out. We ended up with 7 finalists given to us by the Civil Service Commission, and all 7 finalists interviewed with our police committee Friday, and then the Board of Aldermen today in the executive session. That police committee recommended 4, unanimously recommended 4 finalists, and so our Board of Aldermen met today and interviewed those 4 finalists. So I just want people to understand how the process works. We just can't just go out and get us a chief. We have to follow the process. And I'm very grateful to the Civil Service Commission for the work they put in.
Well, I agree. And, you know, we're working on that, but you do have a fire chief, and it is the holiday season. So let's talk a little bit about fire precautions for the holidays, the weather's gotten colder.
Calvin, yes, you know, I'm so glad you brought up this point. Number one, this is why it's so important for us to keep our economy open right now, because people need their jobs. And there are a lot of people paycheck to paycheck, and we start cutting the hours or closing some of these businesses. And I'm speaking about restaurants and other businesses, hotels and all. You'll see a lot of people put out of work at the time they need that paycheck the most, in the wintertime. And, you know, some are already wondering how they're going to pay that gas bill. Now, it's in the wintertime that people get a little desperate, you know, and they sometimes do some unwise things. They will totally overrun their power supply with space heaters. And next thing you know, it's tripping a breaker. Well, if you aren't careful, it can trip that breaker and cause a fire. So number one, safety. Be careful with space heaters. Do not overload your circuits. Be very careful there. Number two, people rely on fireplaces, I know, for heat. And yet they forget that you got to check that chimney. You got to check that flue. And because if you don't, and not only that, you got to be careful of the wood you're burning. If you're burning pine, for example, you know, that creosote's going to build up in that chimney. Next thing you know, you're going to have a chimney fire. And there you go. Also, you've got to be careful with electric blankets. I learned this as a child when one of my mother's friends from church had an older electric blanket, and it had a short. She was asleep. She lost her life because that electric blanket caught on fire. And so if you've got an electric blanket, great, but make sure it's on the newer side. and this checking out, you don't want to take any risks there. Another thing about fire safety, and this is just a big deal to me. Don't forget your neighbors, your loved ones, the elderly, and also your pets. During this time of year, we can get some surprise cold nights, and they'll dip down into the 20s. And you need to be mindful of those around you and family members who may be homebound. And if we have bad weather, and God forbid we have a power outage and it's cold, make sure you're checking on your loved ones. And as I said again, your pets.
Fireworks.
And Dustin just said another important thing. Nathan Gauthier is the only locally owned fireworks stand, and I was out there just last Friday night, their opening night on Highway 61 North, just right up here, right before you get to 84, right there at Kaiser's. But it's important to know that if you're doing fireworks, be very careful and make sure you're in an open space. Make sure also that you're not holding these fireworks when you're lighting them off. Don't want to lose a finger. Don't want to lose an eye. Be very careful. Fireworks safety is important. And fireworks, can start a fire. And so be mindful.
And also, and I was going to add to what Dustin told you, I was going to tell you about, a lot of times people get live Christmas trees that requires water in the bottom of the pan to keep it moist. And they put the lights on and the tree kind of dries out and dries out. You go to sleep at night, the lights get the tree hot and the tree catches on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Knowing that I'm busy being a mayor these days, I decided for the first time in a number of years to go with an artificial tree. It was kind of a hard decision, but I just felt like, I'm so busy and I don't need to be worrying about a tree and lights on a tree. Because if you do have a real tree, it's important to turn those lights off at night. Don't just think, nothing can happen. But another thing too, when I decided to use an artificial tree this year, I also decided to replace my lights with new lights. It's just not worth it to take that chance with old lights.
Well, Dan, I know you're busy, and we're working on the time, and I think I got you in a good space right about now to let you kind of wrap up.
We're doing good. I think we got about 5 minutes. I don't guess you had any call-ins.
Well, I was going to talk about some of the stuff, and I didn't open the line, but I think we made an open invitation. Anyone that likes to call in to the show.
Well, I'll summarize by saying this: we have a beautiful community, and let's do all we can to keep it beautiful. And one thing I've been noticing as I've been driving around town is we're having more litter than usual. And we really need to take care of this beautiful city we've got. And so I'm going to encourage everyone during the holidays here. The wind grabs this garbage and it just takes it a long way. It also is flying out of people's trucks. They don't even know they've got litter in the tail bed. Next thing you know, it's blowing all over town. And so be real mindful. Let's clean up. The city did open bids today, and we'll be working through those over the next few days to spend some city money beautifying our community because we are struggling with the lack of manpower. We were using prisoners for about 2 weeks, and then Calvin COVID would shut down the prisoner supply again. So we don't have that extra source of manpower right now. We only enjoyed that for about 2 weeks. And so people clean up, pitch in. Calvin, I got a funny story for you, though. A funny story. So I got my start in politics many years ago in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, and I was the spokesman. This is probably part of what got me involved running for mayor. But I was, at the time, I was about 29 years old. Had a little boy who's now 26. I don't know how fast time goes by. And I was the spokesperson for the Keep Cook-Pye County Clean program. So I'm supposed to be going around talking to all these civic groups and everybody about not, picking up litter. I had some really nice, slick-looking handouts. And so I pull up at this house there in Crystal Springs, and it's a local garden club. And I'm running late as usual. I'm always running late, seems like. And it was a windy day, very much like we're having here lately. And I got out of the car, and all those ladies were in the house looking out the windows facing me. And I tripped on the curb and I dropped all those handouts. The wind took them and they blew them all over that front yard, the sidewalk, down the street. And I'm going out there running after them. And I bet I looked aside. And I went in there. I was red faced, had a mess of all these handouts. And there I was. I was their speaker. And they were laughing. And I said, well, I just did this as an illustration, a demonstration to show you how quickly we can go from good citizen to litter bug. And so, it's kind of a funny story looking back on it, but I've always had a passion for keeping our community clean.
Sounds like you kind of quick on the feet there.
You have to be in this business. You do. Well, Calvin, we'll be back to see you next Tuesday evening.
Right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to Mr. Dan Gibson. He's the Radio City of Natchez, better known as Dan the Man Gibson. But I also want to give a shout out to his video guy, his Facebook guy, Dustin Kinkle.
That's Dustin Hinkle. Yeah.
Because he's been everywhere. If you visit Dan on the radio, if you visit Dan at a meeting, if you visit Dan at the rain, wherever you may visit Dan at, you can always go to the City of Natchez, Dustin page. He's got it online, on broadcast. And we're going to teach him when he goes to the front of the place and taking video that he can't have music playing in the background, but he will be banned.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Facebook.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ricky Gray says the best Natchez mayor ever.
And I appreciate that.
Oh, that's President Gray or who? Rebecca Owen says great job.
Love you, Rebecca. Thank you.
Angela Bruce Pattern, the lights are beautiful on Main Street. Thank you, Netflix. Mary Lee Edwards Wilson, thanks for all the comment for small businesses. Please keep us open.
Yes, got to.
And it looks like that's it.
All right. And I just want to tell everyone thank you for your support. We will not be having our Natchez Renewal Live this Thursday because of a conflict, but we'll be back Natchez Renewal Live next week. And just stay tuned. A lot of great news on the horizon. More great things happening in Natchez. Just can't wait to tell you all about it. Everyone have a good night. God bless you.